Hello. Welcome to another episode of Mondays with Miko. And sorry for the background phone ringing. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and put this on silence because inevitably I always get a phone call during this session. So, but hey, happy day before election day. And I hope and man, look, y'all, in the South, it's hot. It's over 100 degrees. So I hope you guys are staying hydrated, being inside the house as we kind of get through. It's not even the dog days of summer. It's like June 8th, not June 18th, it's 6/18. It's June 13th. So, hey, you guys take care of yourself, check in on the seniors and the elderly and all that stuff. Well, look, I'm not going to be for you long today. I got three little topics and election day is tomorrow, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare like I usually like to prepare. So I just wanted to do some chatting. How about that? And the three topics are: first topic is you know what? And if you are watching on repeat, I wanted to say hey. And if you're here with me, please feel free to converse, drop anything in the chat. Right. So topic number one, and I really would love to hear from y'all on, is the January 6th subcommittee meetings. Like I want to call it I want to call it Insurrection Day. So my texts are a little bit short, right? So and you know what, y'all? I'm wearing my backup glasses too. Look, they look funny, but I gotta have my glasses on. Chucky says it's hotter than fish grease out there. Fish grease is hot. So I imagine, but wait, Chucky, something tells me that it's hotter than fish grease is like actually a southern slang that I'm not hip to. Maybe it is. So if it is, let me know, y'all. I still think it sounds funny. It's hotter than fish grease. It is hot. It is hot. And I mean, like, when you get out your car, it takes you 2 seconds before you get super, 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 super hot. It is really hot. Odette girl, yes. And here's the thing, we're gonna talk about that. Odette says that she says, look, I really hope people go out and vote. A lot of people don't know that it's time to vote. And it's a setup, right? And we're gonna talk about that. That's topic number two, because with the primaries. But topic number one is the January 6th subcommittee meetings. If you watched it, let me know. Post out there, say, hey, look, I saw it. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you think about it. And then the third topic we're going to talk about is just being visible in the community, like attending some of these council meetings that are back now, allowing people to come in. So we need to get back on our game, y'all. Okay, because it's what? It's time for change. All right, so let's start with the January 6th subcommittee meeting. Okay, so yes, please say, Chucky says, please stay hydrated. That's for real. If you're in the South, it is hot. And tomorrow, Lord willing, we're going to have over 150 people canvassing all across the state tomorrow to get out the vote. So we're going to have a lot of people on the ground, and we're going to make sure that they have water. Yes, please, please, please have water. We don't need anybody passing out or having a similar episode that my husband had a couple years ago. So back to the Insurrection Day, because that's what it was. I really hope that January 6th goes down in infamy for all of our children and all of our children's children to know that there was a president of the United States in 2020 who refused to have a peaceful transition of power. Um, oh yeah, you haven't seen. Listen, if you haven't watched it and you guys have a DVR, record it. Record it on your DVR, and watch it later. Like, so you missed this one. I think the next one is Thursday. I post the schedule. I'll repost it. But you got this is history in the making. We are living history. Like, I'm going to tell you some of the highlights, and then let's just talk about the first one. What was it? Let's see. Okay, Bill Barr. Oh, y'all. Okay. So when Bill Barr was Attorney General, I always thought, I mean, he was a huge Donald Trump fan, right? Always, just doing whatever his business was. Bill Barr got his job with Donald Trump by kissing his hiney. He wrote a letter, a dear leader letter to Donald Trump to get the job as Attorney General. Because remember, Donald Trump, he only wanted people to work with him that was going to say, you're the best, you're the greatest, you're the smartest, right? So the star witness, in my opinion, because I haven't seen a bigger star witness, and if you have, let me know, y'all. But it is Bill Barr. This guy gave up complete tape on Donald Trump, and he was just so matter of fact about it. Like that was complete nonsense. He says Donald Trump was trying to say that the and his was trying to get people to say and Rudy Giuliani that the election was rigged. And Bill Barr was like, that was complete nonsense. Basically Bill Barr says, I quit because these people was crazy. And I'm paraphrasing. But that's what Bill Barr, he is the lead witness against Donald Trump. So let me be a little clear, and it was clarified for me today. I did research this. So the January 6th subcommittee, they do not have the authority to prosecute Donald Trump or any of his cronies that was part of this planning of the insurrection, the funding of the insurrection. They don't have the authority to prosecute. This is what the January 6th subcommittee is doing. They're legislators, right? So these are folks who are elected officials. The American people elected them to be their representatives. Okay. So what they can do is they're putting all this stuff out there. Now, why in the world our DOJ, our Department of Justice, ain't doing it? I don't know. So, but they're putting all this stuff out there. So they put it out there so that they can figure out legislatively how to stop that from happening, right? So maybe they could create some laws to put guardrails around a president, like maybe they could put a law up to stop the whole thing where Donald Trump thought that the vice president could do something. They could make the law more clear because it was a little bit vague, but not really. Everybody was telling Pence, you can't do nothing, dude. All you doing is basically running this meeting and saying Joe Biden's the president. But Donald Trump said no, thought he had power. So it could be some gray area in there. So they're listening to, and then they could do some things around campaign finance reform. So they could change some laws to potentially stop this from happening in the future. But it's up to our Department of Justice to actually prosecute, and they need to do that. They need to do that. It's just mind-boggling to me. Like, why is it 2 years later and we're at this point? And remember, the Democrats, and you can't say like Republicans that say, "Oh, that's a Democrat thing." Basically, they're prosecuting Donald Trump. They're working on the next election. No, because it's a bipartisan committee. Now, it's not bipartisan the way the Republicans want it, because remember, they wanted that crazy guy, Jim Johnson, and the person who's complicit. These are all people that are part of it. Jim Johnson and that Marjorie Taylor Greene, they wanted them to be on the committee, which was insane because these guys are on the tape, so they can't be on the committee, and you're part of the crime, right? But that's what the Republicans wanted. Okay, so Nancy Pelosi said, nope, not going to do it. Right? So here's the deal. If you, okay, let me try to back this up a little bit. So before they got to this point, they said, well, you know what? Let's hire somebody independently to research all this stuff that happened. And then whatever the independent person says, or the independent committee says, we'll go with that. Nope, they didn't want that because the truth would have came out. So the way it is now, they're showing us videos. Bill Barr has live testimony. They keep cutting to him. He just keeps saying this crazy stuff that happened. And then they show evidence, and they do have like witnesses that they'll ask the witnesses, and then they have some investigators that were hired by the House that are testifying to camera. You know, so you can it does don't be put off by the what's the word I want to use, because it kind of looks a little bit scripted, but they did that. I understand why they did it because they needed to make sure that everything is covered, right? So they talked about the money today. Y'all, they had this. Okay, and I was getting Donald Trump. Okay, so the election was over. Donald Trump said I didn't lose, right? And then he said he had 60 different court cases and 180 charges. He went to courts all over this country, trying to say that the election was rigged. Every single judge, Republican judges and Democratic judges, said that was BS. It's not rigged. And one judge went as far as to say this is a court case trying to cover up a coup. Use the actual word. We learned that today on the insurrection, right? By all of these court cases. This is all evidence that was presented. And then another thing that they talked about is people tell me all the time, hey, look, in politics, if you want to find out what the problems are, follow the money. Let me tell you what these guys did. Election's over. They're trying to say, nope, um, you know, eh, nope, he didn't. He won. The election's rigged. Turned out to be all lie. And court case after court case after court case. And Bill Barr kept telling. That's what he was telling. So if you watch today's and you see Bill Barr's like, nope. I tell him that that wasn't true. I tried to tell him ain't nothing wrong with those Dominion machines. I tried to tell them ain't nothing wrong with the suitcases of votes. They're not suitcases. They was containers on wheels, and that's how they do it in this particular precinct. I tried to tell them there was nothing wrong with the way the vote was handled in Detroit, that the, the ballots that were arriving at a certain location, that's how they do it. Because I think he said it was over 100, it was well over 100, I forget the number, a crazy massive number of precincts, which are voting districts in Detroit. And so they take all of the votes to a certain precinct, a certain place, and that's where they count them. And Bill Barr said, "Hey, look, that's perfectly how they do it." He said, "As a matter of fact, um, Bill Barr said Donald Trump did better in Detroit this election than he did his first election, and going back to Philly, he said that Philly underperformed as opposed to some of the suburban areas. So not only was Donald Trump making a case targeting black communities, telling big old fat lies, there was absolutely no truth to it. And Bill Barr said that on tape today. So, like I said, not right now. Listen to me. Give me 15 minutes. After that, turn on CNN, MSNBC. You got to hear it. And I heard, I didn't look, but I was driving while I was listening to it. But I heard that Fox News actually aired it today. How about that? Right, Chucky says, at what point are we gonna stop wasting time? So Chucky said, at what point are we gonna stop wasting time on this man that should just be jailed already? I know, right? There's never been a jailed president of the United States of America. So this is all new, right? No other president has been this crazy. Not even Nixon was this crazy. This dude knew to resign before they caught his tail, but So let's talk about that though. I'm gonna get back to Donald Trump's narcissism because I wonder if it's a mental condition. But let me just get back because I want to tell you about the money. So this whole thing was supposed to be final because elections get certified. And then when elections are certified, then that's it, y'all. That's it. Then it's time to do if it's an incumbent, the incumbent starts keeps doing what they were doing. And if it's somebody who's taking over for the incumbent, you have a peaceful transition of power, right? Donald Trump refused to do that. Instead, they started a marketing campaign. And in 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks, but you'll hear it today if you listen to it. $250 million was raised, and it was raised under the guise of donate to the election corruption fund, something like that, right? And and so donate, and then they would send emails out, text messages out, upwards of 25 emails in one day, all these text messages out, trying to get people to donate. In the first in the first day that they started this, 20, $100 million. Okay, so $100 million was raised. They had $250 million in this fund, and if you listen to it today, and again, I didn't have a whole lot of time, but maybe next time I'll be able to give you some more notes. But watch it because they talk about. So here it is. You go. You're doing the best you can. Donald Trump supporters, not all of them have a whole lot of money. So if somebody is giving $5, that may have been $5 maybe they could have used to feed their kids. So they give Donald Trump $5 thinking that it's going to this election corruption fund to try to fix the election. No. All that money, they have money going to Mark Meadows charity. Like $1 million went to Mark Meadows charity. This money was used by Donald Trump on expenses. It went to Donald Trump directly through these crooked, fraudulent ways. I mean, y'all, they got into it today. They started to follow the money and they started to tell us about how they do it. $250 million. This was after the campaign, y'all. All right. So Bill Barr is saying, he's kind of alluding to the fact that he thinks that Rudy Giuliani went crazy somehow. I don't think Rudy Giuliani went crazy. I think it was crazy like a fox. I think that he was all about that money. And there's some more stuff that we ain't found out yet. That Rudy Giuliani and the rest of them was like, we need Donald Trump to be in office for 4 more years, because all this crooked stuff that we done did is going to come out, and we all going to be in jail. That's why they was fighting so hard. In my opinion, we still got more to see. But what's his name? Donald Trump. On the other hand, remember, so I call him Richie Rich. And for those of you that are in my generation, we used to have a cartoon, and the cartoon was Richie Rich, right? So Richie Rich was a cartoon, and so Richie Rich, this dude was so rich, he had like robots to do stuff for him. He had butlers. Like he had no sense of reality. So he wanted to be around kids, so he could kind of see what's going on. So I'm thinking of Donald Trump as Richie Rich. Donald Trump had himself surrounded by, and I'm not saying he's not a crook because he's a financial crook and these things that he was doing was wrong. Taking people's money, using it for personal expenses is wrong. Taking people's money, having them think that they're spending it on one thing, and this fund that they told them they were spending it on didn't even exist. Not at all. All right. So Richie Rich, aka Donald Trump. If you're my generation, you gotta remember Richie Rich. This dude, he had all these people around him. You so great. You so great. You're right. You're right. They stole it from you. And that's all he can hear because that's all he wanted to hear. When the people came to him, attorneys, they had attorneys in the White House testify against him today. Bill Barr testified against him today. All these legal people was like, dude, there's no voter fraud. You need to stop at so many levels in the government. So they were going crazy in the White House, like, stop. This is what you're saying is not true. You're making it worse for the country. You're making it like the country is they're going to start believing this crazy stuff that you're talking about, right? Stop, stop, stop. And he's like, no, because he always had Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani was always there, like, no, we could do this and we could do that. And the other guy, remember I showed y'all the video last week of the other, what was his name? The other attorney, the guy that came up with this whole scheme, right? So they always had them there, right? So, but this is all today. You guys have to watch. So what I'm thinking is that all this, even his daughter was like, you know, I respect Bill Barr. Now for me, y'all, this tells you how deep it is, right? Because I love my daddy. Love my daddy. And if he was the president of the United States of America and did some crazy stuff, before I turn table my dad, I'm gonna say I'm pleading the fifth. I don't know. No, no, I respect Bill Barr. But she know this dude was crazy, okay, and really was trying to keep himself in office by force. And here's the thing that they ended with, and I thought this was really interesting. They ended it with a tape of the people who were at the insurrection, and what they had to say. And they was like, the election was stolen. Donald Trump told us to be here. The Dominion machines was changing all the votes. And the Dominion machines, I looked at it in the upper right hand corner. It had a Wi-Fi symbol, and the Wi-Fi symbol had 5 bars. So it was going someplace and changing the votes. So these people that came out there, keep in mind, they have been bombarded with propaganda, bombarded, told every single day, multiple times a day, the election is rigged, the election is rigged, we need your help, we need you to help us save democracy. It was all a lie. Trump knew it. His team was telling them, Bill Barr was telling them, everybody was telling them, but they were still feeding this crap to the American people. And if you had no other form of information, this is all you had. Now, my hope and prayer is that these people that that drunk the Trump Kool-Aid, that somehow or some way somebody's getting to them right now to let them know this was all a fraud that was perpetrated on them for the sake of money. But like I said, I'm gonna go back, watch it, and then let's talk about it. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Because it's during the day, people are working, right? So, but it's during the day. But if you have a DVR, go ahead and watch it. It was all that. All right, so that's topic number one. All right, Chucky says, I know, right? Chucky says it's insane. $250 million. I think that was the first 2 weeks, Chucky. They raised a whole lot more than that because this was between December 15th, and they kept raising money up until January 6th. And that money, hey Reagan, girl, queen, how are you? You just had a birthday, happy birthday. So they was raising this money. And today you'll find out when you watch the show or the hearings that not only did all the different places they put the money, but some of the money went to planning what all happened on the list. Okay, so it was. Let me see what else. Chucky's saying. Yes. So Chucky's saying, could they use anything from the findings of January 6th insurrection and build a criminal case against Trump? Yes, but not the folks that are actually conducting the hearing. Those are legislators. Those are congressmen and women, congresspersons. So they don't have the power to, because he's no longer president. When he was president, we could impeach that mug, right? But he's not president. So, but the DOJ, the Department of Justice, is supposed to be responsible for getting justice for the American people. And we may need to put some pressure on the Department of Justice to say, are you part of this cover up? So what the hearings are for are to determine what laws need to be changed to put guardrails against the next president that tries to do something crazy, right? So let's say if there was a law, there is a law against insurrection and all that stuff, but if it was written in such a way that it was clear if this happens, then the president can be immediately removed and trialed and blah blah blah. We need laws. That's what our constitution. We have laws that our governing body. They sit down and they discuss it and duke it out, but it's all to keep us safe, right? So, Chucky, I hope I answered your question. So, the January 6th committee cannot press criminal charges against Trump, but he's no longer a sitting president. But the DOJ can. Okay. So, second topic, and that is I want to talk about what I said. I said the first topic, election day, election day, election day. All right. So tomorrow is um tomorrow is election day in the primary, and I'm gonna upload a slide here. But let me kind of explain something here. Okay, Alexa, I don't think. Oh, I said election day. So Alexa picked up on it. Okay. So tomorrow is election day in the how do I put it? Election day. Um, I'm gonna share something with you guys. There it is. Wish I had a better way of doing it. Let me see. Bear with me, I'm sorry. In the primary. So let me explain the primary, because it is kind of confusion. And I've been talking to folks, they're like, who are we voting for? And I don't get it. And I don't blame you, right? Because it is confusing, right? So election day. So what this means is that we are now picking the person who will go against. So if you're a Democrat, you're picking a Democrat on tomorrow who we will elect that will face off against a Republican in November. But a lot of times, what happens in our races, it's the smaller races is that there's no Democrat running, there's no Republican running, so these races get decided in the primary. Okay, so but in this case, we do have people, Marion County, that we need to vote for, and they need us to show up for them because the number one way that people kind of get at us and that make sure that our how do I- you know that our they could basically control the whole house. They can control both sides of the legislature, and that's what's happening with the state house. But that's a whole nother discussion. I'm gonna come back to you and I'm gonna explain that when Republicans run in Democratic primaries and vice versa, it hurts us when it comes to issues, right? So when I ran for office 2 years ago, the person, our current sitting representative, Lucas Atkinson, to this day, he still votes with the Republicans. He still sponsors bills that are not in your and I best interests, but in the interest of the people that support him, right? And so we need to take that power back, and we will get there. But so let's just go back to the primary. So in the primary, we've got a race for governor, right? And let me go ahead and bring that up so you guys can kind of see. I'm all the way down here in the little corner. All right. So we got a race for governor. And the Worker Families Party, which is a party that I work for, I'm a senior advisor for them. They have made these endorsements. And the endorsements were based on the candidates had to submit a lengthy questionnaire. They had to answer a whole bunch of questions. They had to and submit to, some of them had to do multiple interviews, but at least one panel interview. And during those interviews, we asked them very specific questions about their politics, right? Because we're looking for people who are progressive, meaning that they're going to work for the people. They're going to work for worker families. They're going to work for laborers. They're going to work for higher wages. They're going to work for better housing. The things that are important to regular people, not corporate interests or people that are interests of folks that would make them personally rich. And so we have come up with this endorsement and we're endorsing them and then we're going to follow them when they're elected to office and then we will hold them accountable to the people. And I'm so happy for this slate of endorsements because they said they want to be accountable for the people. The first one is Mia McLeod. She's running for governor. Matter of fact, I have about 2,000 of these cards. So if you want, just send me a message or a text or something, and I'll get you some cards, and you can help me get those out tomorrow. We're going to be in 5 counties. We're going to be in Orangeburg, Richland, Sumter, Florence, and Dillon with voter parties. We're going to have food and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some partners that are helping us in all those counties. But Mia McLeod, she is she is a African American female. She's from Bennettsville, so she's from the rural district. She is the only one running on the ticket that actually has any legislative experience. She was in the House and she was in the Senate, and she's never lost an election. And she knows how to work on both sides, right? And she has a great plan and idea for how to move South Carolina first. And she was not afraid to say on day one that she will expand Medicaid in our state. I don't know why Alexa is hearing me, but on day one, she will expand Medicaid in our state. Big deal. That's going to bring jobs. That's going to cover more people. And if you're on Social Security disability, it's going to put more direct money in your hands every single month. So that's Mia McLeod running for governor. Okay, so she has to win in the Democratic primary. Keep in mind, the Democratic primary is 70% African American. She is the only African American female that's running in that race. So we really need to get the word out. Call your friends, call your family, call anybody you know in South Carolina and say, hey, look, y'all got to look at this Mia McLeod girl. And we're probably not planning on voting tomorrow because people skip the primary and that's what hurts us. You cannot skip the primary. If you were planning on skipping voting tomorrow, please don't go. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. are the hours you can vote at your precinct. Please, 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 please go. I will be voting tomorrow. The next person is Crystal Matthews. She's running for U.S. Senate. So when Crystal Matthews wins tomorrow, her next race is going to be against Tim Scott. And I hope if you're listening to me, that unless you're a troll, but if you're listening to me, that I don't have to explain to you why we need to get rid of Tim Scott in our state, in our nation. Tim Scott is bad for working families all across the nation. He's got to go. Even when what was the last thing where Lindsey Graham voted for it and Tim Scott voted against it? It's just crazy. Jerry Govan had a really he's a current rep. He's one of the he's either the first or the second longest. I think he's the second longest standing rep. Representative Gilda Cobb Hunter is the longest standing. He's the second in the House of Representatives. He is not running for his House seat. He spent his entire political career fighting and writing bills on the issues and advocacy for schools. And now he's running for the superintendent of education of the whole state, right? So if no matter where you are in the state of South Carolina, you can vote for those three. Okay. Um, let's see. I love you, Chucky. Chucky says, "Don't get him started on Tim Scott." Okay, listen. All right. So um, next, so that's those are the bigger pictures. Those are the ones that are on everybody's ballots. Those are folks that are running for statewide positions. Then the smaller boxes, you got Evangeline Hundley. She's running over in Sumter, I think it's Spartanburg, but she's running for U.S. District, U.S. House. So she would go to D.C. Then it's this young man, Jaheim McLaren. He's running in Marlborough County, over in the Bennettsville area. And this young man is 19 years old, and we endorsed him. He has a resume. He's also a Clyburn Fellow. I found that out this weekend. I didn't know that. But he's also a Clyburn Fellow. He's currently in college. He has a vision for his community. He wants to be on county council. And one of the things that he said that really stood out to me is he wants to clean up the communities in his district. And he tied clean communities, he correlated that to crime. And I kind of get it. It's like he's like, okay, we clean up the communities and and then let's work on reducing the crime. But give people a clean, safe place to live. And I kind of really liked that. I was vibing on all that. LaShonda Neesmith Jackson, that is my girl. There's so many ways that we are the same. She's in Florence. She's running for city council. She ran last year. This woman had to run 3 times. She ran in the primary. Then she had to go to a runoff, which we'll talk about the runoff in future, the whole runoff process. The runoff process, the way it's up in South Carolina, is discriminatory towards African Americans. It was built that way for a reason. We can talk about that later, though. But so LaShonda Neesmith Jackson, she's running for the city council seat in Florence. That seat flipped Republican for the first time in like a trillion years in a special runoff election last year. So we need to flip that seat back to Democrat. So if you know people who live in Florence, tell them to tomorrow to go buy bummies to get information and get some free food. It's going to be water ice out there. Hip Hop Ice is going to be out there. They're going to have hot dogs and hamburgers on the food truck. So it's going to be a free food truck out at Bummies tomorrow. But tell them to come on out to Bummies and maybe the candidate. I know she's going to be campaigning, but maybe she'll just come and say hey or whatever. But yeah, definitely LaShonda Neesmith. And then the last one is Latisha Walker. She's over in Orangeburg, and she is actually running unopposed. But she's a former She's an officer. She was a police officer, and I think she was in the military. I mean, she just has this record that is just outstanding and amazing, and she wants to work for her community. Okay, so again, y'all, somebody in the group, I can't see your name, but you says come out and vote. Yes, we need everybody in every single election. And the Worker Families Party has done some research for you guys at the state level, because I know a lot of you, this election went kind of fast with COVID and everything. You didn't get a chance to put your hands on Mia McLeod. You didn't get the chance to put your hands on Crystal Matthews or Jerry Govin. I'm telling you, they're ready to work for us. They're ready to work for the people, and we can't do it without you. And last but not least, just give me 2 minutes, just give me 2 more minutes. I wanted to talk about, using your V's is three things. First is I'm using your voice. And I'm criticized a lot for that. On good end, people that I think are down with me, they're like, Miko, you say too much. Take it back. So no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna use my voice. God gave me this voice and I'm gonna use it. So that's the first V. The second V is be visible in the community. We gotta be visible in our community. And so that means attending these meetings. That's where the decisions are made. Not in DC, in Mullins, in Marion, in Nichols, in Florence, in Scranton, in all these different places. The school boards, the city councils, and the county councils, that's where the decisions are made. And let me tell you, right now, these cities got millions of dollars in ARP money. So if you want to make sure that you understand how your local city is going to be spending that ARP money, if you want to make sure that that ARP money is going to be coming used in a way that's going to benefit your family and your neighborhood and not some political favor, you need to go to those meetings. Tomorrow is Mullins and Marion. Mullins and Marion both have their city council meetings. The doors are open again. People can come into the meeting. I recommend wearing a mask, but you don't have to. But you can go back to those meetings. Mullins is at 6 and Marion is at 6:30. Okay. Then the school board meetings, we need to go. I'm actually going to try to get myself over to the school board because right now, in order to speak at all these meetings, you have to sign up and then get approved in order to speak. Well, what I want to request from the school board, that's not efficient. That's actually that's not cool. And you know what? We're the community and we decide how we want to provide information to our elected officials. So I'm actually going to ask to speak in front of the school board to tell them that we want to have a different way. These are our children. And if I have an issue, I don't want to have to request permission. Let me come to the meeting and request permission. Give us 2 minute time limit. Do something so that if the community wants to be heard, they can be heard without paperwork. Because it's intimidating. I have done it on multiple occasions. You got to go up there. You got to fill out this paperwork. They ask you what you want to talk about, and then they'll put you on the agenda. Mm-mm. We want some sort of open forum, and the school board only meets once a month. If you're only going to meet once a month, then I should be able to come to you and address an issue I have with the school board. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, and by I'm saying not me, Miko Pickett, I don't have no kids. But if you don't want to hear what the community has to say, then get off the school board. Point blank, period. All right? But we're going to need your help. The Marion County School Board has not had active as active as it should be community participation. Let me put it that way. And we got to step up our game. I got big money. School has $10 million. It's from one fund that I know about. It's a lot of money. Okay? So, anyway, y'all, that's all I wanted to say. Next week we're going to be talking about the insurrection again. And meanwhile, y'all, check it out. Let your girl know what you think. It's kind of crazy. And then don't forget tomorrow. Please, 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 please vote. And last but not least, use your V's. Use your voice. Be visible in your community. The most important V of all, vote. Have a great day, y'all. Vote, vote, vote. tomorrow.